The difference from last year is obviously it's back-to-back international fight weeks, but this time you're in the main event. It's two main events for this year for you already. So it's quite a year so far, and we're what, halfway through.
Yeah, it is. And I want to be busy, so it's no secret that I want to be active and get in the octagon as much as I can. So, but I mean, it's good to be headlining two events this year and maybe three this year. Get three, three main events in this year, three big fights. That'll be a perfect year for me.
So I'm sure you've obviously been asked a lot about Yair and how dangerous he is, but something I wanted to touch on just from the get-go was I was very interested that you brought in the Taekwondo specialist Carl Von Roon for this fight, and I didn't know if it was the first time that you've worked with him. I know obviously I'm guessing that you should to replicate Yair's style, or is Carl someone that you've worked with before, or did you bring him in just for this camp?
Well, yeah, we've known Carl for a while. So he trains over there in New Zealand. He even trains a bit at CKB. So I've met him a couple of times there. Obviously, I'm a freestyle gym, but every time I go over there, a lot of times he's there. So I know him pretty well. But yeah, been lucky enough to have him in camp. Obviously, when you talk about someone that's so good with range and kicks and spins, all the stuff that you will like to throw, especially at a long range. There's no one better than Carl Van Roon, being a Taekwondo 11-time world champion, Taekwondo specialist. So it's pretty incredible. And then I've got guys like Blood Diamond who, if you watch some of his highlights, especially kickboxing highlights, you'll see some of the most unpredictable, craziest sort of things you've ever seen. Like that's his style, which is how Yair is as well. Which is, but he's a lot bigger. So we've been lucky enough to have bodies like that and looks like that in the gym to really keep me on my toes.
For sure. And coming into this fight, obviously, on the back of the Islam fight, I know everyone and your feelings on that, but something I wanted to talk about was the same feelings you had after that fight, the same feelings you had a decade ago with your first loss against Corey Nelson, or was it different feelings given you went on a 20 fight unbeaten run after the Corey loss?
Um, Definitely different because of the magnitude of the fight, I guess, and what was on the line, and um, the fact that there was the story behind obviously that as well, and then to think that we did it, and then the obviously not get my hand raised and have that actual moment, obviously that was a totally different feeling to my other loss many years ago. So yeah, it was definitely a different feeling.
And with the featherweight division at the minute, I know obviously the emergence of Ilya Topuria since your last fight, he sort of boosted up the rankings a lot, but there seems to be, other than Ilya, not really many fresh faces. I know you went up to 155 for the last fight. Is that something that you'd maybe consider a permanent move, given that there's not many new faces? You've almost cleaned out the division other than Ilya.
Yeah. But look, again, that's what I want. I want contenders. Everyone's screaming guys named like Ilya. Obviously, you got that rematch. You got lightweight fights in that as well. So there are some options, but for me, it's obviously I want to be active. So if I need to wait for someone, it's going to be the other guy. You know what I mean? It's pretty simple. So I just want to get these fights rolling, and get this money while I'm in my prime. Make that money. You know what I mean? Make that money. Do what I can. Build that legacy while I'm in my prime.
Mm. And some comments Ilya made was, him predicting that if he fought you, he'd finish you in the first round. I know, again, hit to touch back with the Corey fight, but when you watch the back of that fight, it's the only time you've been finished, but he had a massive size advantage on you in that fight. What did you make of Ilya's last fight against Emmett and, the comments that he made? I'm guessing it's just normal for a fighter to feel confident in himself, right?
Yeah, well, exactly right. And he should be. He should be that confident. He should think he can beat me. He should think he can beat me in the first round. But him thinking that and doing it are two completely different things. Again, obviously, I'll eventually want to hype that fight up. So I won't give you my exact thoughts on Ilya's performance. Everyone was impressed. All right, I'll let that be. But just put it this way: people don't look like that in front of me.
Mm. And some big news, in recent months was You and Izzy were the first two UFC fighters to be signed to the immensely popular Prime drink. I know you spent some time with Logan, and something what I wanted to ask, because I saw you teaching him a bit of jiu-jitsu, is he's got a very good wrestling pedigree. And I wonder, just from your session, did you sort of feel that, you know, if he ever was serious about crossing over to MMA? I know he's done boxing before, that is something that he could do. Just I know he had a bit of brief time on the mat, but what do you sort of take away from the session with Logan?
Yeah, man, I think so. Again, having that wrestling background, and then obviously still having the boxing. I mean, I think I definitely reckon he plans on eventually doing that. So I definitely, obviously first it would be the right fight, but I think you could definitely see it. And again, wrestling, having that little bit of a wrestling background goes a long way. And then knowing that he's been training striking for a long time, so I definitely see him being able to go in the UFC and maybe fighting some, which would be obviously massive for the UFC.
And just finally, I thought I'd do a little bit of a fun one rather than all the usual stuff. Whilst we're on the topic of you and Izzy, I wanted to just ask seven questions, and whatever you think, who's better out of you and Izzy, just let me know. So the first one I'll ask is, who's the better dancer? I think I know. I think I already know this one, given a clip of you dancing in a nightclub. But who's the better dancer out of you and Izzy?
Izzy's definitely the better dancer. I mean, everyone thinks that's just how it is, but the funny thing is, yeah, I'm not a good dancer anyway. But I mean, with that clip, so people know there's a story between with that, because every time that song was on, I was hitting pads. We used to put it on, and I'd dance while I was hitting pads. So it was a part of that. So like that was But I mean, to be honest, on the dance floor, usually I just shadowbox anyway. So yeah, that's my dance skills. So yeah, Izzy's definitely the better dancer.
Mm. I will get on to the next one, but it's funny you say that because I saw that clip go around and it was, I love how Volk doesn't know how to dance, so he just resorts to shadow boxing. But you sort of answered the sort of questions about that, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. No, that's what it was. It was again. It was there's a story to it. So all camp, that song was playing, and especially when for some reason, it just got me in my mood and the beat. I would start hitting pads and doing dance while I'm hitting pads, and yeah. So it was just sort of like that.
Mm. Well, it leads me on to my next one is who's the better singer out of you two?
Who's a better singer? I haven't heard him sing. But you know what I mean, mate, I can hit some keys, mate. I can hit some notes. I might have to go myself on that one.
Mm. Izzy
I
is
need to
known
hear him
for
sing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He's good at a lot of
exactly.
things. He'll probably go out there and
Izzy's known for this, but
But I
I
believe
know
in
you
my singing skills, so I'm going to back myself on that one.
I know you've got some good sense as well. So I wanted to ask, who's got the better fashion sense in your opinion?
Izzy's definitely got the better fashion sense.
Who's better at maths?
Who's better at maths? Man, I don't know. I'm good at maths. So, man, that's a tricky one. I don't know what he's like. I'm not. When it comes to, I'm more street smart, right? When it comes to grammar and vocabulary and all that, I'm useless. I'm terrible. But when it comes to common sense and like street smarts, which I believe a lot of maths is involved with that, it's pretty good. So that's one thing that I can maybe back myself, but I don't know how good he is. But me being a concreter and all that, I always had to do a bit of maths. So I'll back myself because I gave Izzy so many. I'm going to give myself the maths.
Mm. I know we gave him the dancing one, but I feel like you'll give yourself this one. Who's the better cook?
Better cook? Yeah, I'll say myself.
Mm. I don't know. This is an interesting one. Who's the better analyst in terms of breaking down fights and doing tape study? Who's the better analyst at you two?
I think we're both good. Obviously, we're both great at what we do. You know what I mean? Especially you can see the striking. His knowledge of striking is just on a whole nother level, and his eye as well. He's got such a great eye. So when he's breaking down striking, he can pick up things and tendencies. He can even pick up people's emotions while he's watching them. So I would have to say when it comes to the striking element of him breaking down, Izzy. When it comes to the wrestling, war work, ground stuff, I'll say myself because I guess you know that's so again I'll go both of us.
And finally, maybe not the most important, but who's the biggest drinker?
Biggest drinker? Oh, I'll give Izzy that one.